Things have changed quite a bit over the past almost 20 years. When I started at the Multi-Service Center, we were a smaller organization. I believe we only had 40 to 50 employees, and now we are close to 100. The needs of the community were a little bit different, and that's why it's so important that we do a community needs assessment every 3 years to find out what the needs are, that we're not just making assumptions. One thing that I think has changed quite a bit is there's just been an incredibly increasing diversity in South King County. And I think also too, with some of the events that have happened, like the recession and with COVID, people are starting to get a better, or have gotten a better understanding that some of these things can happen very unexpectedly, and even people that are working and saving can be impacted by these things that are outside of their control, and can find themselves in a situation where they need services. And I think also too, the community is more aware of who we are, which has been incredible. And I think as well, since I've been here, there's been better understanding over the past few years of the needs that exist in South King County. It's really hard for me to identify a greatest impact. And I say that because everyone who walks through our doors to get services, if they in some way are able to improve their lives, improve their quality of life, that is a huge success. Whether they just need to get energy assistance to keep the electricity on, where then they need help getting a job or housing. For each of those individuals, any progress that they make, any forward movement is a huge success. I think though, if we're looking at tangible impact, in addition to the services we provide, I think our work in affordable housing development and rehabilitation has been critical, because even as we're helping individuals with our services, if they don't have housing and they don't have a physical place to go, it's really difficult to pull yourself out of that cycle and be successful. So I'm really proud of the work that we've done for many years in creating affordable housing opportunities for individuals throughout South King County. I would also say that if you look at internally, some of our greatest impact and successes, building on the momentum of the previous CEO, the fact that we have diversified our funding to rely not so heavily on government funding and to be good fiscal stewards has been really, really important, because unfortunately, oftentimes as our economy suffers, that's when funding cuts come, and that's when people need us the most. And so being able to focus on being a good financial steward has helped us to remain sustainable, which is important. I think the other thing that's been a critical impact for us is our efforts over the past few years with diversity, equity, and inclusivity. And we still have a long ways to go. I don't know if it's a journey that ever has an end, but we've had some great successes. And one of the reasons this is so critical is because we have learned over the past several years what kind of impact systemic racism has on poverty. We know that people of color are disproportionately impacted by poverty. And so working on diversity, equity, and inclusivity is going to be critical to our ability to fulfill our mission of building a future without poverty. One of the things for me is helping people, not doing it for them, but providing them the resources and opportunities to fulfill their human potential. And I believe that every person should have that opportunity to do that. But unfortunately, the reality is we do not, that does not exist currently. And so being able to help people do that, it not only helps those individuals and families, it has a positive domino effect on the people around them, but it also helps our communities to thrive. When everybody has the opportunity and resources to meet their full potential, we end up with thriving communities, and we end up with a better economy. So we all benefit from that. I also think that what makes it meaningful is the partnerships that we have. I mean, this is not work that we can do alone, and I have continually been so impressed and so thankful for the community members that we have that also help us in this work. Not only is it important in terms of volunteering and financial support, but also because that sends a message to our customers that somebody believes in them enough to invest in them. And I think that's a critical piece as well. I think community support is a huge piece. This is not work that we can do alone, and we really need people in our community to help with this work, to invest in our mission in helping to build a future without poverty. I think that understanding what the needs are of our community is really, really important. And understanding poverty as well. And there's certainly financial poverty is most of what we focus on, but we also look at poverty in different ways as it relates to our long-term care ombuds program, where we have individuals in long-term care facilities. And for them, some of the poverty might be poverty in support networks, poverty in their ability to make choices for themselves. So really understanding all of the populations that we work with and what their unique needs are is really, really important. We definitely do not do one size fits all. And as I mentioned before, the work with diversity, equity, and inclusivity, we cannot build a future without poverty if we do not first examine the factors in our society that are contributing to poverty and address those factors alongside with helping individuals. It is my belief and my hope that MSC will continue to be known as being very agile in meeting the needs of the community. We have long had a reputation, I think, for being very flexible and adapting to needs. And certainly that has come up this year with COVID. And one of the things that I really appreciate about our staff is that ability to adapt, to do things in a way that has our customers' best interests at heart. And so with COVID, it meant adapting our services to mitigate risk and make sure that everybody was safe. And in doing so, as an example with our food bank, we have changed the way that we provide services, and we found that our customers are really responsive to that, and we may be considering these changes to be long-term based on customer feedback. So our ability to solicit customer feedback and to make changes to make sure that we truly are meeting the needs of the community, I think is something that's going to carry us into the future. I think also just being an innovator, constantly looking for ways to innovate and find opportunities even in the most challenging times. I think we will continue to be known as providing affordable housing where it's needed, and also being a strong advocate for the people that we serve, whether that's the elderly living in long-term care facilities, or whether it's the young people involved in the criminal justice system, or just your average family trying to get by, advocating for those individuals. I do see us continuing to look for different ways that we can be more impactful, and look for ways that, in addition to providing individual services, we can also impact some of those greater systemic changes that we talked about, because we really do need to approach this issue from both angles. I just really want to emphasize how fortunate we are to have such strong community support. I truly mean it from the bottom of my heart when I say that we could not do this work alone. It is the combined efforts of our funders at the government level, of private funders, our board members, our volunteers, some of whom have been here longer than anyone who's employed here and are very committed, our donors, just our partners, the community in general. It is through their efforts that we are able to be successful in helping others, and that really is an unnegotiable key to success. So we're very, very grateful to have.